The Honourable Jackie Munro.
Thank you, Madam Deputy President. I usually prepare my speeches, and I have to say that I did prepare a speech for this evening, but I was moved in light of really significant historical events to change the topic of my contribution this evening, because I think it is timely to recognise some really poignant moments that we share as a society and globally. Today is Remembrance Day, where we commemorate the sacrifice of war and honour those who sacrifice through war, and that includes the almost 500,000 soldiers who enlisted to fight on Australia's behalf for our future. That was amongst a population of 5 million Australians. It's a huge section of our population who decided that they would risk their lives to ensure the continuation of our way of life in Australia. 62,000 people were killed and 156,000 people were wounded, gassed or taken prisoner. Shocking statistics which it left an indelible mark on our society at the time. And the reason that we commemorate Remembrance Day is that we also celebrate the relief that the end of war brought. War is horrific. It should not be considered necessary. It is something that we should try to avoid, maybe not at all costs, but certainly at almost all costs, because there are actually some things that are worth fighting for that protect our way of life. We had Remembrance Day today. On the 9th and the 10th of November, we commemorate Kristallnacht with the Jewish community. Kristallnacht, or Night of the Broken Glass, marks ostensibly the start of the Holocaust. At least it was the time when Nazi Germany, Hitler's Germany, first engaged in physical violence against the Jewish community, whether it was burning down synagogues across Germany, Sudetenland, Austria, or breaking into homes or destroying Jewish-owned shops, hence the broken glass reference, and killing Jews, openly killing Jews. And this was encouraged not just, it was state-sanctioned violence, not only perpetrated by Nazi apparatchiks, but also people amongst the community, neighbour against neighbour. 15 years prior to that, in what is potentially an incredible coincidence, the Beer Hall Putsch happened in Munich, which was the first time that Hitler had become a national identity because of his extreme white supremacist, Jew-hating views. And it was this extremism that put him on the national stage. It took another 15 years before Kristallnacht, before he gained power, what might be considered legitimate power, at least through the usual institutional mechanisms that people gain political power. Then we recognise on the 9th of November the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. These events all occurring essentially across a weekend, one weekend in a year. These momentous occasions should be thought of in concert with one another, because what we are facing is now a situation where we have neo-Nazis marching on our parliament on the Sabbath. Potentially they did it deliberately on this weekend, given the date's significance. And they were allowed to march. They were allowed to represent horrific anti-Semitic views, to cancel the Jewish lobby, to use that language which is coded in anti-Semitism and the worst kinds of tropes that are associated with Jew-hating around power. It's disgusting. We have a former Premier, Bob Carr, who uses this language openly. The Jewish lobby and its influence. We see Greens members talking about the tentacles of Jewish leadership. It is unacceptable in a liberal democratic society like ours that commemorates the end of a world war, the one that was supposed to end all wars, and we cannot miss standing up and fighting for the Jewish community as part of our civilised society.